Thank you, Peter, for joining us this morning. Much appreciated for making the time. Let's begin with a brief introduction of yourself, a little about the company, and any major developments as well.
Yeah. So Peter George is my name. I'm a mining engineer and a mineral economist by profession, but it's been a while since I was either of those. I guess I've been more of a mining executive for the last 10 years of my career. My background, I was fortunate enough to be going all the way back to the mid-90s. Started my career with Boliden, working up in the north of Sweden, and I guess I've been coming backwards and forwards between Sweden and Australia for the last 30 years of my career.
So for the majority of the companies, sir, it will be their first time engaging with a majority Nordic investor base, whether that's retail or institutional. But I'm sure for you that you're no stranger to the investor base here. So why should this investor base continue to trust your management team with their investment, with their money?
Yeah, I mean, a good question, but I think it's important for everybody to understand that, you know, my involvement with ARCT really only started in October last year. We had a private company which we were looking for a home. Myself and Robert Behetz and Erik Lundström, we were, like I said, looking for a home for a project. We were introduced to the Arctic Minerals guys. You know, they had their project up in northern Norway, up in Finnmark, Bidjavagia, fantastic Outokumpu asset, somewhat locked in permitting at this particular point in time. So they were looking for new projects, new management team, new board, Kirster and Peter, by their own admission, getting a bit long in the tooth into their late 70s. So we agreed in October to a 50-50 merger of our private company in there. So in October, I became a 9-10% shareholder of Arctic. Robert Behetz and myself, we joined the board as I joined as an executive director and Bob as a non-executive director. And then at the AGM this year, Robert stepped up to take on the chairman role, and Peter stepped back to a non-executive director role. So we've restructured the company. We've raised about 40 million krona in the last 12 months in a couple of different tranches. We've changed the focus of the company from Bidjavagia now down to our Swedish projects, with the main flagship project being our Hennes Bay Project in Dalsland, in about an hour and a half northeast of Gothenburg. This is a project which was drilled out by the Swedish state with about 14,000 meters going back into the 70s and 80s. Nothing has really happened since that point in time. We picked it up in 2023. We've been doing a lot of work on it, and then we released our maiden resource for that particular project of 55 million tonnes at 1.0% copper equivalent in March of this year. So that was a big milestone for us. Our share price ran away at the time. I think we went from 2.4 krona up to over 15 in the space of a couple of days. Unfortunately, Mr. Trump came out with tariffs about 2 days later, and the share price has dropped off. But we've been doing a lot of technical work in the background, getting ourselves ready for a drilling program, which we hope to start early in the new year. We've just completed a large MMT geophysical survey, which we did in August, which will help us with our drill planning. So look, we have a huge amount of work ahead of us. We've just completed a huge amount of work in the last 12 months, but we have even more coming up in the next 12 months, where I'm looking to expand that maiden resource from the 55 million tonnes up to well in excess of 150 million tonnes in the next few years.
Absolutely. You touched on it a little bit, but recently the company announced a maiden resource estimate for the flagship. It's the flagship copper and silver project in Sweden here. And of course, it's highlighted immense resource growth and exploration potential. With that, what are the key exploration and development milestones for the remainder of this year and also heading into Q1 of next year, especially with regards to new geophysical surveys in addition to the targeting of the drills as well?
Yeah. Well, I guess I touched on that, but in a little bit more detail. So we've just completed the MMT survey, which was over the top of where the main resource sits today. So our main objective of that was to really see if this new technology can see what we can already see in the drilling, and the first indications that are coming back now are that it really works very well. I should be able to get some more news out of that in the coming weeks. We've put in applications for 4,000 metre drilling program. We have another 5 prospects that sit just outside of the existing resource, which we didn't include in the JORC compliant resource because they all need 1 or 2 more drill holes, we think, to be eligible for JORC compliance. But we think there's at least another 25 million tonnes at 1% copper equivalent there, and even a Hennes Bay Project, it's up to 1.5% copper, about 6 million tonnes sitting in there. So we know we've got some high grade portions as well. So, you know, like I said, we put in the applications for the drilling, so we hope to get that 4,000 metre drilling program started early in the new year. The geophysics should highlight new drill targets for us, which, you know, so with a bit of luck, you know, we'll continue drilling into the new year there at Hennes Bay.
Absolutely. Market conditions are constantly evolving. There's always going to be the volatility component, especially in this industry, right? So with that, how effectively is the company managing its capital overall, especially for the remainder of this year and also heading into Q1 of next year?
Yeah, look, we're doing a fantastic job on that. You know, we literally do operate on the sniff of an oily rag. I mean, I think I've been up in Stockholm 5 times this year. I've spent more time in Stockholm and Sweden than I have anywhere else. And as an example, I mean, we have a bed in the back of the office. So that's, you know, we're making sure that our investors' money is going as far as we possibly can. You know, it has been a tough market for junior explorers, but, you know, we're actually doing a fantastic job. You know, like I said, we've raised about 40 million this year. We've got 20 to 25 million in the kitty at the moment, which is what we need to do the drilling and the geophysical work that I mentioned before. So I think, you know, we're in a very good position as far as that's concerned, and we won't need to raise any more capital this year in that regard.
Right. So for a lot of the investors here, quite a few of them will be up to date on ARCT. But for those that are not acquainted, what would you wish that they knew more about the company, especially as they approach new opportunities in investment?
Yeah, look, I think our flagship project is Hennes Bay. It's 14,000 metres worth of historical drilling in it. We haven't started drilling it ourselves. We hope to grow that very quickly. It's a sedimentary hosted stratiform copper silver deposit, very similar to the copper schiffer down in Poland and Germany. These we know are extensionally very large type deposits. We've got 402 square kilometres down there in Hennes Bay, down in Dalsland, which, you know, we've got this same ore body is outcropping over 18 kilometres away with 1.8% copper and 40 grams per tonne silver at surface. So this, you know, there's a massive opportunity here for us to quite quickly and quite cheaply grow this to up over 150, 200 million tonnes. We've just completed an underground conceptual mining study with independent mining engineers, Deswick, you know, and they've designed up a theoretical mine, room and pillar underground mine for us with at least 4 million tonne per annum over 10 years. Room and pillar, like I said, but that's just in the starter 55 million tonne resource. So from my point of view, it's very mineable where it is. It'll be an underground mine. So from an environmental perspective, you know, most people won't even know that we're there. You know, we're very keen on doing our part to look after the environment. You know, we're coming through a period where, you know, in Sweden and in the Nordics and in Europe in general, you know, we've seemed to have believed too much that the you know, mining is not good for the environment. But I think now everybody is starting to realise that, you know, rather than importing copper concentrates from you know, from 12,000 kilometres away in South America, where we've got no control over what's happening, we should be mining these things within our own borders. You know, and as an example of that, you know, we import over 50% of our copper concentrate, which is less than 30% metal, from countries like South America. You know, and there's absolutely no reason why we can't be doing that ourselves here. So, massive opportunity for the European investment community to jump on board and support, you know, our own mining industry.
Absolutely. So heading into your one-to-ones, what's the most important question these investors should be asking you?
You know, I give the speech. You know, I've probably given the speech about 50 times in the last 2 days, so I'm a little bit sick of hearing my own voice. But I think, number one, people are very surprised that we have this opportunity with our own backyard.
Right.
A lot of investors are asking how can they get involved, because they see it as we're very low market capitalisation compared to where we probably should be and to where we will be in 5 years' time. We are a very, very tightly held stock. So, you know, the top 20 controls 70% of the shares. I think the top 86 controls 88% of the shares. So it is difficult to get hold of large packages. But, you know, having a number of guys asking, look, come in and buy a small package and let me know. And then in the future, when there's opportunities to jump in on a potential capital raise, hopefully at an awful lot higher prices, you know, I'm more than happy to get whoever's been supporting us on market to come in and, you know, take part.
Absolutely. We appreciate making the time, and the best luck at the remainder conference.
Thank you.
Much appreciated.
Yeah, good on you. Thank you.